What's up, guys? Weather Wednesday coming at you with another Raid Shadow Legends video. And today is the first day of 4 days of one of the best events that you get in Raid Shadow Legends. And I know it might not be the most exciting. The most exciting event, of course, is pulling shards. Everybody loves to pull shards. This is a champion collector game. You want to pull champions, you want to get new champions. That's very exciting. After that, the next most exciting event might be like a fusion event or maybe a free login event, such as we have right now with the Adeline Chase. Very exciting. Maybe not the best champion, but still exciting to get new champions, right? But if you want to progress your account, there's something that should be just as exciting, even if it takes a little more work than pulling shards. And that is 100% gear removal cost. Now, why is this so exciting? Maybe you're new to the game, maybe you've been around for a while. Either way, you need to know something about the game. Silver is difficult for most players to come by. Now, if you're endgame, if you're a Kraken, you probably figure out how to keep your silver. But just because you can keep your silver doesn't mean that you can progress your account, because, as you well know, it costs money to remove gear most of the time, except for when we have the 100% gear removal cost. Now, for the first year and a half that I played this game, there was no such thing. Like, you were lucky if they gave you like a couple times a year, they might reduce the cost 50%. So it was still expensive, but you could do it. It made it a little bit easier to change your gear. But this is the time where you can completely overhaul your account. And fortunately, now they do it once or twice a month. Now, the big reason why they do it now is because Curse City. You are constantly needing to put gear on different champions to attack different stages of the Curse City. Perhaps champions that you wouldn't necessarily use anywhere else in the game, which I think is great. What I love about Curse City is there are champions on my account that I think are, well, when I pull them, I think they're trash. Or even if they're good, I don't need them necessarily. There are plenty of champions, like Helior, for example. I pulled Helior and he's just okay. Now, some people like him more than me, of course. You know, somebody like Inari the Lucky, who was a fusion, or a free champion like Deliana. Like, they're okay, but I have better on my account. But when it comes to Curse City, you need lots of different champions that you wouldn't necessarily use, because maybe you need like an HP champion from the Orcs, or you need a defense champion from High Elves or whatever. You just never know what's going to pop up, so you need a lot of variety. And because of this, thankfully, they have finally decided a couple times a month to give gear removal costs. But the question is, how do you maximize your potential for this weekend? And the answer kind of depends on how much time and effort you're willing to do over the course of the 4 days. Now, understand that you might be busy this weekend. You might not have time to do any of this, but keep it in mind for the next time, because you just never know. Now, the first time that we ever had a gear removal, 100% off, I think I took the gear off of everybody on my entire account. Now, I can't do that anymore. Basically because I have too much gear to take off of all my champions. If you look at that, I have 1,566 pieces of gear. Now, the game only allows you to have 1,500 unequipped pieces. So obviously, I would have to sell at least 66 pieces in order to do that. I really don't want to do that anymore. What I do now is a little more focused. So the first thing you can do is if you want to completely 100% overhaul your account, do it. If you have the time. Now, it is going to take time. You're going to have 4 days. And it does take time. If you aren't an expert on every single champion, it's going to take time for you to research and be like, how do I really want to build this champion? So you can do it. And my advice, whether you're going to do, a few champions or a lot, is to consider first, where do you want to improve in the game? The first time that I did this, I wanted to do one thing. I wanted to be able to one key Ultra Nightmare on the Demon Lord. And I was able to. It took a few attempts, but in one day on, I think, New Year's Day 2023, I was finally able to go from a 2 to 3 key team to a 1 key team. And that was amazing. And a few months ago, we had one of these events, and I completely did that again because I wanted to free up one of my champions. So that's really what I would do is, well, first of all, maybe you have a champion that you geared just for Curse City or someone like Blizzard here. I don't really know where to use him in the game outside of Faction Wars and Curse City. So I don't always want to have gear on a champion like this. I want to spread around my Relentless gear because I don't have a ton of it. So maybe I'll take everything off of champions like that. Champions that may be useful when Curse City comes around for that particular faction, but maybe they aren't going to be useful at all in the next Curse City. So you want to take off all the gear off of those kinds of champions that aren't necessarily going to be used in a couple weeks. Maybe they'll sit in your vault for 2, 3, 4 months waiting for a Curse City stage where they're actually useful. What you don't want to do typically is tear apart champions that you're using in your current dungeons, unless you're trying to very specifically work on that dungeon to make it better. So maybe you look at my dragon team. I think, well, this is an okay team. It takes a couple minutes. Maybe I want to see if I can improve these particular champions. What I would do then is I would go champion by champion. Say I wanted to improve my Rathalos Blade Master. What I would do in this case, instead of just taking all the gear off, I would try out the fitting room. Because you can try on pieces to see if they're going to make the hero better. And you can try it out that way. But it's up to you. You can take off all of their gear and just completely rebuild them. Or you can try the fitting room. Now, what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to start focusing after I take off, the gear of the champions that I don't really use commonly, that aren't on like a clan boss team or a dungeon team. I'm going to focus this time on my arena teams. I want to see if I can make my arena champions better. I'm going to see, for example, Baron. Perhaps I've gotten Stone Skin gear available for him. Probably not, because we don't win a whole lot of Hydra clashes. But let's see. He's got, unfortunately, a defensive amulet's not going to help him. And an HP ring isn't going to help him. So that's unfortunate. But I'm going to see if I can get more of my champions into Stone Skin for arena, for live arena, for tag team arena, because it's just becoming more and more necessary. It's so difficult, especially like attack nukers. It's so hard to keep them alive if they don't have Stone Skin. So I'm going to take a look at all of my arena champions, and I'm going to see if I can get them in Stone Skin, or, another gear set. See if, I can get more of my nukers into Merciless. See if I can get more, uh, you know, when it comes to nukers, like you got a choice to make, right? Do you want to put them in Savage, or do you want to put them in Lethal, or do you want to put them in this new set, Merciless? Now see if I have enough gear to put more of them in Merciless. Because look, Baron, I've gotten a 7-piece Merciless set. Now I'd love to be able to put him in a 4-piece Merciless set or a 5-piece Merciless set and 4 pieces of Stone Skin, something like that. That's obviously fairly difficult. So you have to make a decision like, where are you at in the game? What kind of gear do you have? But the point is, you want to choose, depending on the amount of time that you have, choose a section of the game that you want to improve. Do you want to improve your clan boss team, your Hydra team, your arena team, one of your dungeons? I would focus on one section at a time. So I take off all the gear on my Cursed City only champions. It's going to free up a lot of gear. Now, maybe you're earlier in the game, you want to re-gear everybody. That's fine if you have the time. Even if you're later game, if you have 4 entire days set aside just for re-gearing champions, you're going to be tired by the end of it. Trust me. I have re-geared. I did an event where I re-geared probably somewhere in the 90s, like 90 to 100 champions over the course of 3 days, and I could barely see when it was all over. So my advice when it comes to the 100% gear removal cost weekend is to take a look at your account and see what you're willing to invest time-wise into. What you don't want to do is take the gear off of everybody and then get busy. And then suddenly you can't play your account for a few days because nobody has gear. So it's going to be completely up to you how much time that you have to invest over these 3 days. And if it doesn't work out for you this time, keep it in mind for next time. Get a game plan, get a strategy. Figure out what you can do, what kind of time constraints you have, and just think about, like, do you have enough, has your account changed enough? Have you gotten enough new gear? Have you got enough new champions for this to be even worth your effort? Usually the answer is yes, unless you haven't been playing. Now, what's great about this current event is that it was actually doubled up with an artifact enhancement event. So I already completed my artifact enhancement event like right away because I was doing Marius missions and I just kind of had to. But if you can double up, one of the best strategies in Raid overall is to double up events. So if you can do like a Dungeon Divers while also doing like a Dragon tournament or a Champion training tournament, that's great. In this case, I would recommend doing the Artifact Enhancement event while you're trying to improve your teams. So that's it. That's my advice. I do this every time I possibly can. I've done different strategies. I've gone from completely taking everything off of all of my champions to the point now where I'm just focusing on one area at a time. So that's my take on it. I hope this gave you some ideas, and let me know if you're planning on taking an advantage of the 100% gear removal cost and what your strategy is. So that's it. That's it for me today. I'm Weiler Wednesday. Thanks so much for watching. Have fun re-gearing your champions this weekend. See ya.